Tiny homes have become all the rage, but living small may have its pitfalls. Have you ever considered the dark side of tiny homes? The tiny home has become an ever-popular movement aimed at making the dream of homeownership possible without the crushing debt of a massive mortgage. According to an article from Florida Realtors, anything under 600 square feet is generally considered a tiny home. The average size is about 225 square feet. In comparison, US Census data indicates the standard houses purchased in 2022 averaged 2,383 square feet. We know that tiny homes mean smaller kitchens, living space, and less room for material possessions, which is part of the basis of the appeal. Live simply, live with less, and enjoy life more. But what are the downsides of those that are choosing to live smaller, other than the fact that you can't have a man cave with a pool table or a formal dining room? First, if you calculate real estate by cost per square foot, the cost per square foot of a tiny home is actually higher than that of the typical single-family home. Of course, that's all relative because according to the article, Rocket Mortgage claims the price of a tiny home can be anywhere between $30,000 to $60,000, with some being even as low as $8,000. The cost of a typical American home, according to the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank, comes out to be about $513,000. That's a higher price percentage-wise, but nearly an 80% savings overall. The biggest and I think most important point, however, is resale value. One of the primary reasons for investing in real estate is that it's one of the best ways to build wealth. By simply just paying your mortgage, your net worth is growing because your property value is also increasing. You can typically sell a property for more than you paid for it, barring some rare and extreme examples. But that tends not to be the case with tiny homes. According to Ruby Home, most of these owners don't recoup their entire investment when they sell their tiny house. Zillow agrees, noting that you should consider your tiny home more like a travel trailer or an RV. The benefit of mobility is also its downfall. According to offgridworld.com, tiny homes should be treated more like a recreational vehicle or a mobile home, which depreciate. This may affect your home investment in the long run. Think about a car. If you buy a brand new car off the lot for $39,000, you drive it around and go back the very next day, they're not going to pay you $39,000 for that car. Tiny homes work much the same way. They provide shelter, they provide a purpose, but they don't gain value over time. Now, if you own the land that your tiny home sits on, that's a very different conversation because that land is more than likely going to grow in value over time, but the tiny house sitting on it may not add much value. Okay, let's review. I do not think tiny homes are bad, but I do think it's worth reviewing your long-term plans and goals. If your tiny home fits your current season of life, your budget, and is viewed as an investment in your lifestyle, then please proceed. However, if you're hoping to use this tiny home as a stepping stone to a larger home or funding future wealth, it is time to adjust your expectations. It is perfectly fine to start your real estate journey small. But in lieu of starting with a tiny home that may not give you a lot of money to show for at the end, perhaps consider something like a townhome or a condo, which could be your trading card to the ultimate dream home. I'm Lindsey Johnson, your resource for all things real estate. See you next time.